My name is Marin. I'm 41, and until last winter, I thought the hardest part of marriage was juggling school schedules, work deadlines, and the endless laundry that somehow multiplies overnight. I didn't realize the hardest part would be watching the person you built a life with rewrite the rules and then tell you you're reacting wrong when you can't keep up. Kian and I met when I was 27 and he was 30. A 3-year gap, nothing dramatic. He was steady, organized, reliable. I was the one who moved too fast and trusted my instincts because they'd usually carried me. With Kian, it felt safe to slow down. We've been married 14 years, 2 kids, a modest house near the river, the kind of life that looks boring on paper and feels precious when you're inside it. The shift didn't start with an affair or a screaming match. It started with a word, polyamorous, he said, sitting at the kitchen table like he was presenting quarterly results. He told me he'd always felt this way, that monogamy felt like wearing a coat that never fits. He described himself as a pressure cooker, saying he'd been holding it in for years and didn't want to implode. I remember staring at a smear of jam on the table, thinking, is this real life? I didn't scream. I tried to understand. I asked what it would mean for us. I asked if he was unhappy. I asked if he wanted a divorce. No, he said quickly. I love you. I love our family. This isn't about replacing you. Then he added, I just need room, freedom, authenticity. Authenticity. The word landed like a gentle weapon, so I told him I'd learn. I said we could read, talk, maybe find a counselor who understood non-monogamy. I asked for time. He nodded, kissed my forehead, and told me I was amazing. 2 days later, he said he might go on a date. I blinked. A date? Already? He shrugged. Just coffee. The coffee was with Alina, 33, divorced, living 2 streets over, 11 years younger than him. They talked at the bus stop, he said. Nothing serious. I asked for boundaries. Not rules carved in stone, just guardrails while I adjusted. No dates until we had a plan. No people from our immediate neighborhood. No secrecy. Kian's face tightened. I can't do this with boundaries, he said. That defeats the point. I need to explore freely. Then, as if to soften it, he added, you can explore too. I tried. I chatted politely with someone online and mentioned meeting for coffee. Kian didn't forbid it. He unraveled. He paced, went pale, said he felt sick, asked why I was moving so fast. He said he needed communication. He said he felt like he was losing me. I canceled the coffee because watching him fall apart made me feel cruel. Meanwhile, Alina stopped being theoretical. At school pickup, she didn't look at me. If our paths crossed, she turned away. Kian said she was awkward and didn't know how to handle it. He kept repeating, nothing is happening. She's not even sure, but his phone lit up constantly. His smile changed when he looked at it. Small, private, uninvited. And when I asked gently, he would say, Marin, please don't spiral. That became his favorite word for my emotions. Spiral, as if the problem wasn't the thing happening, only my reaction to it. A week later, he admitted Alina had feelings but was unsure because he was married. He said it like my existence was an obstacle in an otherwise beautiful story. I felt something tear quietly inside my chest. I told him I wasn't comfortable with that connection continuing. Not forever, just until we had structure. He sighed, then nodded. Fine, he said. I'll stop. I'll delete her number. I want you to feel safe. For 2 days, I tried to relax. On the 3rd day, I noticed he lingered at the bus stop longer than usual. He came home late, casually, like time didn't matter. I told myself I was paranoid, that I was becoming the stereotype he implied I was. Controlling, dramatic, reactive. Then I saw his screen light up while he was in the shower. Alina's name. Notifications muted. A preview that disappeared the second I touched the phone. My hands shook the way they shook years ago, the morning I spent 6 hours in the ER with a migraine so severe I couldn't see straight, after a fight with Keon. He didn't come. He didn't call. He stayed angry like it mattered more than my body. That memory never fully left me. That night after he fell asleep, I opened his messages. They had been talking the entire time. He had deleted most of the thread, but not all of it. Enough remained. Late-night jokes, little check-ins, emotional intimacy disguised as nothing. There were messages about me, too. "She's having a hard time," Kian wrote. "Please be patient." Alina replied, "I don't want drama. I just want something real. Something real." As if my 14-year marriage was a rehearsal. When I confronted him the next morning, he didn't apologize first. He stared at me like I'd committed the real crime. "You went through my phone?" he said. "That's not okay." I said, "You lied." He exhaled like I was exhausting. "I hid it because I knew how you'd react," he said. "I was worried you'd do something reckless. I was protecting her." Protecting her. He was more upset that I looked than that he lied. And then he said it, flat, impatient. "Marin, get a grip." The phrase made my stomach drop. It didn't matter that he broke our agreement. What mattered was that I wasn't performing acceptance with enough grace. After that, I started to disappear in small ways. I stopped asking questions because every question became a lecture about how I needed to do the work. I stopped bringing up my pain because my pain was labeled as hostility. I began to recognize a pattern I'd ignored for years. When Kian wanted something, rules became optional and my feelings became an obstacle. When I wanted something, suddenly there were standards. Communication, emotional responsibility, patience. One Friday, I suggested we go to dinner alone. He agreed, then ran out for a quick errand. He showed up nearly 2 hours late. We still went. I tried to salvage the evening. He drank like he needed it. His voice got louder. We disagreed about something small, and he stood up and started yelling in the middle of the restaurant. People turned. The table next to us went silent. I felt my face burn and my hands start shaking. "Stop," I whispered. "Please." He looked at me like I deserved it. Then he sat down and said coldly, "This is why people can't be themselves around you." That was the moment something in me shifted. Not a dramatic snap. A quiet slide like a door closing softly in another room. Because I realized I was spending my life trying to prove I was safe to love. After the fight about Alina, he became sweeter for a while. Flowers, long messages, promises to reconnect, vague talk of therapy, and I hated myself for it. But the sweetness didn't land. It felt like effort offered too late, like a bandage after the bleeding soaked through the carpet. My body started keeping score. I stopped sleeping. I woke up clenched and tired. I forgot small things. I did most of the cooking and cleaning and emotional logistics. My income covered most of the bills. And yet, when I faltered, it was framed as my failure to cope. The worst part was that it didn't stay between us. The kids started sensing the air change. Our son asked why Dad was on his phone so much. Our daughter started hovering near me at bedtime, as if she could feel that I was slipping away and wanted to anchor me with her small hand. I tried to keep everything normal. Packed lunches, homework folders, birthday invites. But I was doing it on a nervous system that felt permanently switched on. I'd be stirring pasta while my mind replayed his words. "Get a grip. Don't spiral." This is who I am. Our finances took hits too, in small, humiliating ways. I missed a payment date and got a late fee. I forgot to submit an expense report. I bought groceries twice because I couldn't remember what was already in the fridge. It wasn't just sadness. It was cognitive fog, the kind that comes from living in constant uncertainty. I suggested we talk to a counselor, someone neutral, someone who could help us set agreements that didn't leave me drowning. Kian agreed in theory, then never followed through. When I brought it up again, he said therapists would pathologize him. When I asked him to at least stop the secrecy, he said privacy was necessary because my reactions were unsafe. That's when the self-blame got its claws in. I started wondering if he was right. if I was too sensitive, if my sadness was manipulation, if my need for reassurance was control. I started editing myself even when I was alone. One night, after the kids were asleep, I opened my laptop and typed, "How to be okay with Polly" into a search bar. I read for an hour, eyes burning, trying to find a sentence that would make my stomach unclench. I found plenty of advice about compersion and communication. I found almost nothing about what to do when your partner treats your pain like an inconvenience. One morning, I sat in the car after dropping the kids off and didn't turn the engine on. I just sat there, hands on the wheel, staring at nothing. I thought, I feel like a shell. That night, I told Kian I wanted a pause. Not Polly, not dating, not discussions about Alina's feelings. A pause for us. He scoffed. "You can't pause who I am." "I'm not pausing you," I said. "I'm trying to save me." "So what, you're controlling me with ultimatums?" "It's not an ultimatum," I said softly. "It's a boundary. I'm allowed to have one." For the first time, he looked uncertain. Not guilty, not compassionate, just uncertain. Like he wasn't sure what move would work anymore. I don't have a neat ending. I'm not writing from a new apartment with a triumphant playlist. I'm writing from the same kitchen, the same life that suddenly feels unfamiliar. But something has changed. I've stopped trying to be the cool wife. I've stopped translating betrayal into personal growth. I've stopped believing that love means swallowing your pain until it becomes silence. Maybe this is what regaining control looks like. Not fixing him. Not convincing Alina I'm not an obstacle. Not performing openness so no one can accuse me of being the problem. Just standing still long enough to hear my own voice again. This concludes today's story. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed it, consider subscribing to support our work.